Hello, my friends. We're going to read another chapter today from the Outcast of Redwall. It's a pretty good book. I read it a lot as a kid. I didn't show you last time the back art. Look at that. Do you recognize them from our last reading? It's the badger with the golden stripe on his head. Do you see how he has his club? Yeah. There's his friend Scarlath the Kestrel. How about that? I like the illustration on that one. It's a really good one. Today's music is brought to you by Spotify. It's a collection of music on a playlist called Piano in the Background. I don't know if you can hear it. It's kind of quiet. I'm reading in my bedroom today. But it's very quiet, very chill. You know, sometimes you need that. Let's see if we can turn it up just a little bit. There. So, Chapter 2 of the Outcast of Redwall. There's an illustration. It shows the badger, who right now he's called Scumtripe. Doesn't have a name yet. A name that's nicer. And then we have the kestrel, Scarlath, perched on his shoulder, and they both look kind of miserable, like, oh, we've had a hard time. You see that? Yeah. Deep breath. Okay. The badger did not stop running until it was broad daylight, cold and crystal clear. He halted in a small clearing at the edge of the forest. Scarlath fluttered to one side as the hefty young badger threw himself down in the snow and lay panting, tongue lolling as steam rose off his thick coat. After a while he sat up, cramming pawfuls of the cooling snow into his mouth and gulping them down. Scarlath hopped about, testing his wings in short swoops, noting gratefully that his pinions were undamaged. Glad to be alive, he shook his plumage and he spread his wings. "Hey! Rest, friend, rest, then we will go away," he cried. The badger stood and picked up his club. "You go where you want. When I've rested and found something to eat, I'm going to go back and I'm going to slay that vermin, Swart Sixclaw." Do you remember Swart Sixclaw? He's got 6 paws, or 6 paws. He's got 6 claws on his left paw. The young kestrel took flight and wheeled around the badger's head, his wings brushing his friend's gold-striped muzzle. "He cried. "Then you are a dead beast, my friend. Sport has too many vermin. You will surely be slain." The badger clenched his jaws as his body trembled. For many seasons that ferret held me slave, dragging me around, hobbled and muzzled, starving, beating, making fun of me. Scumtripe. That was his name for me, Scumtripe. I'll make him repeat my name 10 score times before I slay him with my club. But what is my name? Whirling his club, the badger charged a dead elm stump and struck the rotting wood a mighty blow. Woomph! A hole appeared in the elm stump, and Scarlath shrieked out, "Cree! Look! Food!" Hazelnuts, chestnuts, and acorns poured out onto the snow, the forgotten cache of some careless squirrel. Anger was momentarily forgotten as the two friends laughed aloud at their good fortune and fell upon the life-giving treasure. Sitting on the stump, the badger cracked shells with his strong teeth and placed the nuts before his friend. Soon they were both crunching and munching. The kestrel spoke around a beakful of chestnut. "I am Scarlath. I was alone, but you saved my life. Now I am with you. Where come you from, friend?" Scratching his golden stripe, the badger chewed thoughtfully. "I'm not sure. I think I had a mother. Bella, or Bellin, or something. It's hard to remember. I must have been very young. Bore the fighter That's a name I can recall, definitely. Maybe he was my father or my grandsire. I'm not certain. Sometimes I dream about home, or maybe it's my imagination, but it feels nice. Then there's a mountain. Was that my home? It is all very mixed up, but Swart Sixclaw, I won't forget him. The young badger looked quizzically at his friend the kestrel. Maybe Swart is right. Maybe my name is Scumtripe. He gave me that name. What do you think my name should be, friend Scarlet? The kestrel felt fierce pity for the young badger well up in him. He hopped up onto the strong, dark-furred shoulder and cried, "Cree! Your name I don't know, but I know you are a great warrior. Slay 5 and injure many, like a lightning bolt. There is none so quick or strong with a mace as you." The badger picked up the hornbeam and hefted it. "So this is a mace? Is it? I never knew a mace looked like this." Scarlath looked at the hulking young beast with his tree limb. "If you call it a mace, methinks no beast would argue the point. Warriors like you can be anything they want to be. You are unsure of your name. I will give you a good name. The mark of the sun is upon your face. Your speed is that of lightning, and you have your very own special weapon. You are Sunflash the Mace." The badger laughed happily, and standing at full height, he spun the formidable hornbeam in his paws and roared, "I have a name! It is a good name! I know who I am! I am Sunflash the Mace!" And he gave a great yell. Scarlath took wing and circled high, calling loudly, "Cree! Sunflash the Mace! Cree!" When the kestrel flew to earth again, Sunflash was away, already backtracking swiftly through the forest. Scarlath winged between the trees after him. "Sunflash, my friend, where do you go?" The warrior blood was rising in the badger's eyes as he brushed past Scarlath. "Out of my way," he growled. "I'm going to settle accounts with that ferret." "So you go to your death," said Scarlath as he found his perch on the big shoulder and clung on doggedly. "Oh my goodness, the badger's going so fast. He's holding on really tight. Oh no." You imagine he's kind of splaying out his wings, trying to have balance, and his tail feathers digging in with his talons. Where was I? "I have told you, Swart has so many vermin, too many even for you. No matter, I have sworn to stay by your side. I will go with you, and we will both be slain." Sunflash halted. "But what else can I do?" he said with a bewildered look on his face. "Sixclaw is my enemy." Scarlath was wise for a young kestrel. He rapped his beak lightly against the skull of Sunflash, saying, "We can think. You are brave, but you are headstrong. Why risk your life against the odds? If we take our time, we can be certain victors one day." Sunflash sat down in the snow, leaning his chin onto the mace as he gazed at his companion. "Tell me how we will do this. I will listen and I will learn." Thus began the education of Sunflash the Mace. Scarlath outlined... Where'd it go? I lost my spot. Scarlath outlined his plan, which was simple and should be effective. Why run after Swart? He will come after us. The ferret will lose face in front of his vermin if he lets you live. Let Sixclaw wear himself out chasing us, while we leave this cold land and find warmer country where it is green and there is food. There we can rest and we can grow strong. I will be your eyes and your ears, flying high and watching for Swart and listening for information. When the time is ripe, then we will strike cleverly, my friend, like wasps. We worry the ferret and his band. In and out, sting and disappear, slay one or two at a time, strike like sunflash and vanish like smoke. Then Swart will come to fear us, and he will realize that you will not disappear. That one day he will turn around and that you will be there waiting. This will trouble his mind and haunt his sleep. That is my plan. Now, what do you think? A broad smile spread across Sunflash's face. It is a great plan, my friend. I will learn to think like the kestrel. Lead on. That day, the two friends began traveling south and west on a journey that would last many seasons. Sunflash strode over hill, valley, and plain, while Scarlath soared and circled overhead, scouting out the land. Winter passed into spring as the two friends journeyed onward, growing up together, getting wiser, seeing, learning as they went. Sunflash could not stand injustice, and wherever he saw creatures being oppressed or enslaved, the big badger, remembering his own enslavement by sword, meted out terrible retributions to their tormentors. His name and fame began to spread. Songs and poems sprang up in the lands he and Scarlath traveled through. Most songs were heroic, and some, like this one, were humorous. I'm not going to sing this. I don't sing. I will read it out loud, though. Look at that. Gotta have it in there, right? I met with six weasels one warm summer night, and I feared for my life I'd be beaten and slain. But their faces were fearful, all ashen with fright. They gibbered and whimpered like they were insane. Oh, save us, preserve us, oh, hide us from him. The one with the mark of the sun on his face. In his paw he carries a great hornbeam limb. He's the warrior lord they call Sunflash the Mace. Of a sudden the earth seemed to tremble and shake, and the verminous weasels passed out in a swoon. As he came like the wind with a hawk in his wake, there he stood, strong and tall, neath the moon. I'll never forget what he told me that night, while he looked at the weasels stretched out, right where they fell. You're a very brave beast to down 6 in one night. For a small baby dormouse, you've done very well. But as more seasons passed and time went on, things did not quite turn out as Scarlath said they would. Swart's Sixclaw had tracked them as predicted, and Sunflash and his friend did indeed worry them, striking fear into them many times. Each attack was fairly successful. The ferret lost quite a few of his vermin to the lightning strikes of Sunflash. But Swart was no fool. The realization of the badger's guerrilla tactics came home to him one sunny morning in the low hill country to the north of Mossflower Woods. Two vermin whom he valued quite highly, Spurhack the Stout and Bulfy a ferret like himself, both hardened and skillful warriors, had vanished overnight. Hunched over a small fire and massaging his damaged paw, from shoulder to elbow the limb was as strong as ever, but the six-clawed paw remained rigid and unmoving. It ached every morning, reminding him of the winter night when the young badger smashed it with a piece of hornbeam tree. Nightshade approached, with 3 others who'd been out searching for the missing warriors. Swart quickly pulled a gauntlet onto his dead paw. It was a very heavy affair, meshed brass mail with 2 weighty copper fasteners, and it made for a very formidable weapon on its own. He glanced up at the vixen and snarled, "Well? Did you find them?" Nightshade squatted down on the other side of the fire. Aye, both sitting up against a sycamore in a copse over yonder, stone dead, each holding one of these. She tossed over 2 long-stemmed water plants. Swart picked them up and inspected them. "Bulrushes," he said. Nightshade was a healer, and she knew every plant by name. And she also knew that many of them had many other names, too. That's right, bulrushes. They're also called reed mace, or just mace in some parts of the country. Swart Sixclaw flung them in the fire and watched them smolder away. Mace. It doesn't take a genius to work out who did this. The vixen narrowed her eyes against the smoke of the fire, saying, "You should have caught him and slain him the night he escaped." Swart leapt up. Drawing his sword, he scattered the fire and shouted, "Should have, might have, would have. That's in the past. Get these idlers up off their tails. We're gonna travel east." The vixen sprang aside to avoid the burning embers. "East? But my scouts tell me Sunflesh still travels south by west. What is in the east?" "Bowflag." Nightshade raised her eyebrows questioningly. "Bowflag? The warlord?" Swart thrust the sword back into his belt, sneering. "Bowflag the warlord? Ha! You mean Bowflag the old? Bowflag the fat? Bowflag the glutton?" Nightshade shrugged. "Still, he leads a great horde." Swart chuckled evilly as he marched off. "But not for long." That was the end of chapter 2. I'm glad we can do this. I enjoy our time together. I have several books by this person, Brian Jacques. If this keeps going on, we can get through this book and try others. I hope you have a good day, and don't forget to do your best. And to remember that your best might not be someone else's best, but you do your best, and that is okay. Have a good day. Bye.